Alright guys, hello and welcome to the first new segment of the new YouTube channel. Uh, First off, I'd like to thank everyone who's still been with me. I mean, I know it's still a small following, but hey, gotta start somewhere. So, without further ado, I bring to you, finally, our expansion into Magic the Gathering. If there were two things that I have ever enjoyed playing in my life, it would have to be Magic the Gathering and League of Legends, and I'm just happy that I can share this with you guys through my YouTube channel. So, I'm recording this currently Thursday morning, 2:30, so as many of us know, there is a pre-release coming up this weekend. For some of us, it's Friday at midnight. Well, I guess Saturday at midnight, and for the rest of us, it's Saturday and Sunday. And I know many of us are pumped. I mean, why not? Like we got Gatecrash coming in. We're finishing off the last 5 dual colors for the guilds, and we are just ready to pimp out our decks and just go play in standard if you're still into that kind of thing. So basically what I'm just going to do is I'm going to be doing kind of like a preview show for all the cards that, maybe slipping on the radar, the cards that I think are pretty awesome. Okay, so the first card we're going to go over is Lord of the Void. Now, this card is a fantastic card, at least for EDH. You're not going to see too much standard play with it being a 7-drop. However, in EDH, a 7-drop 7/7 that allows you to mill 7 and then steal a creature, yes, please. It's like Grave Betrayal on a stick, but it is so much better. Now, just even the flying just makes this card absolutely ridiculous. In EDH, in any mill deck, in any black control deck, you will see him, and he will make waves. Alright, so the next card that we're going to look at is going to be Death's Approach, the 1-drop enchantment for enchanting creatures, which I can only hope that you guys are going to be using on your opponent's creatures. Basically, this is a fantastic card in Limited. It's going to be just great. You have a long rolling game, they play their bomb, you're like, okay, you have 5 creatures in your graveyard? 1, 2, 3, okay, yeah, just making sure. Death's Approach, and then just wipe their creature off the board as if nothing ever happened, and it makes you a very happy person, and it is so great for card advantage being at only 1 mana. I highly suggest this as a limited pick, but we'll see how it plays out. Alright, another card that we're going to take a quick look at is this Crypt Gas guy over here. Alright, so he's a 4 mana 2/2 rare with Extort. Now, for those of you who don't know, Extort is Orzhov's black-white guild keyword ability that whenever you cast a spell, any colored spell, you may pay a white or a black. If you do, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain that much life. Each opponent. So okay, so I know we're getting ready, we're gearing up for the pre-release here, but now we also want to look ahead, much like in EDH and stuff. So you're just playing casual game with a whole bunch of friends. Extort is a fantastic mechanic. It honestly does not get much better than that. I mean, sure, it's not going to be great for the politics game in the long run, but if you're just playing an EDH game against just other random people, perhaps in a league, Extort will be fantastic. Alright, and then his other abilities is that whenever you tap a swamp for mana, add black to your mana pool. Okay, so it's not just anytime you would generate black, add a black. No, it's whenever you tap a swamp. So you can just go and tap away your white-black shockland, and you get an extra black. So in theory, you can tap it for white and get a white and a black. That is fantastic. This guy is great for ramp. Heck, he might even make some 7-drops viable. Wink wink, Grizzlebrand. You never know. I mean, but Extort on this guy is awesome, and he is going to see play. Alright, another card that we're going to look at here is Thrall Parasite. Oh my god, he looks fantastic. Okay, so sure, he's an uncommon. What are you going to do about that? He's a 1-drop 1/1. Pretty vulnerable, much like the 01 Vampire was back in the day whenever zombies was so popular before rotation. Blood Artist, there you go. So he's another 1-drop 1/1er with Extort. Awesome. You know, Extort, just fantastic. It'll win you races. It will catch you up in races that you are behind in. It is just a fantastic ability. I cannot stress that enough. But then his secondary ability is almost on par with Cryptghast, is that it is just tap, pay 2 life. Okay, sure, shock yourself. Not bad. Remove a counter from target non-land permanent. Okay, so let's just think, okay, so what kind of counters are your opponents going to be getting? Maybe muster counters, maybe +1/+1 counters. Okay, removing a +1/+1 counter, not all that big of a deal, but then we start getting into other kinds of counters, such as Planeswalker loyalty counters. There you go. So they're 1 away from ulting that guy. He's about to do it. Upkeep, pay 2 life, remove that counter. They can't do it for another turn. Sure, you're shocking yourself, but hey, if it's gotta be done, it's gotta be done. And then, but also, best case scenario, they've just -2'd their guy down to 1 loyalty counter, and then you can just shock yourself and get rid of that guy right away. It's almost a Dreadbore on a stick. I mean, not quite, but hey, if he gets there, he gets there. Alright, so the next card that we're going to look at is Fire Fist Striker. So he's a 2-drop, 2/1 red human soldier with Battalion, that where he attacks with at least 2 other creatures, one target creature can't block. Okay, so they're continuing on with the whole human line of, you know, haste, get in there, bang, bang, boom, try to knock around your opponent. But again, he doesn't quite get there. Making 1 creature unable to block, it just doesn't have its benefits according to the cost to me. But hey, if he looks like he will be pretty good and limited. I don't know how much I can recommend playing him in your pre-release sealed this weekend, but he is a 2-drop. Alright, so 5 Alarm Fire. I remember sitting there, you know, waiting for the day's Gatecrash spoilers to go and come out, and whenever I finally refreshed the page, what was waiting for me was a lone card, and that was 5 Alarm Fire. It is a 3-drop enchantment that allows you to burn your opponents based on how much aggro you're putting onto them. So, let's see, how many times does it have 5 written on the card, because that seems to be Wizard's ideals now. Let's see, 5 Alarm Fire. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage, put a blaze counter on 5 Alarm Fire. 2. Remove 5 blaze counters from 5 Alarm Fire. 5 Alarm Fire deals 5 damage to target creature or player. That's 6, right? Yeah, that's 6. So 6 5s, not quite as cool as you might hope. But anyway, so this card alone will make Goblin aggro, Goblin tribal viable again. Who needs to sack creatures to get your 5 damage with Goblin Grenade whenever you can attack with your creatures to deal 5 damage for free? Honestly, hasting goblins, just pounding them, is going to be much better than your red humans. I think that Wizards has big plans for Dragon's Bridge, that there will be more goblins in that deck, in that set, that will make this card much more viable, and it will also make Kranko a big deal. These are my speculations. Take them with a grain of salt, but that is what I'm seeing for now. Alright, so another cool card that I am excited about is Legion Loyalist. Okay, so he's your 1-drop, 1/1 Goblin Soldier with haste. I mean, but he is so much better than your hasting Goblin from before. He has Battalion on him, that where he attacks with 2 other creatures, he and all your other creatures that are attacking get first strike and trample. Oh my god, this is the dream for just like a total alpha strike on your opponent. Maybe you're just swinging with some 3/3s, but it doesn't matter. The 3/3 first strike is fantastic and limited, and it will also shove those Thragtusks out of the way and let you get right at your opponent's life totals. There are very few big things in Standard right now that will stop your 3/3 army with first strike and trample from getting through to their life and just making you have a bad day. You will be causing them to have a bad day. But on to the next one. Alright, so one card that I'm not too excited about is Ripscale Predator. 6-drop, 6/5, can't be blocked except by 2 or more creatures. Yeah, so he's a 6/5, right, and he can't be blocked except by 2 or more creatures, which means, oh yeah, he's going to be trading with those 2 creatures anyway. I mean, okay, limited, I think he's going to be great. Limited, I think if you can go and keep the board controlled enough to go and land this guy and then keep them down to 1 creature or less, he's going to end the game very quickly. But in any constructed play, I don't think that you're going to meet a board state that will allow this guy to be abused. In fact, if you can't meet that board state, he's just gonna be a dead card that's gonna kill 2 of their weenies. That's about it. Okay, so I think with how much controversy and or hype that is surrounding this card, I think it's only proper to cover Skullcrack. Many of you know it by now. Skullcrack, it's supposed to be the absolute counter Thragtusk. Alright, so you play it, you deal 3 damage to a player, they can't gain life this turn, and they can't prevent your damage this turn. Okay, so maybe you're facing up against some janky decks that are running fogs and stuff. Sideboard this in. They're running Thragtusk, sideboard this in. They're running Sphinx's Revelation, sideboard this in. I mean, life gain, you watch any Standard tournament nowadays, life gain is almost king. Life gain is what gets most people into the top 8s. The bank control, Sphinx's Revelation and Thragtusk, that's where people struggle. I mean, sure, the card advantage is tough and constant board wipes are tough, but it's ultimately the life total. You can go and see someone be dealt 20 damage in a game, and they're still at 10, they're still at 15 life. Skullcrack will hopefully put an end to these shenanigans. I think it's a great card. I think it had to be printed. So we'll move on to another card that was similarly built from top down. Okay, before we get to the other card that I want to talk about, I just saw this card. I did not see it before, but Smite, holy poop. 1-drop removal spell for combat. Fantastic. 1 mana, destroy target blocked creature. Fantastic for limited. Standard, still debatable, but hey, we'll see. It is a 1-drop removal spell. That's all you need. If it gets you there, it gets you there. You know, like that can kill their Vorpal that's beating down on you. That can kill their Thragtusk, their Angel Serenity that's beating down on you, and whatever any other threats that are coming at you. Oh, I'm attacking for a win with Trample? Well, sorry sir, but God must smite you. Okay, here's the card that I want to talk about that's a similar top-down design, is Frontline Medic. He's a 3-drop, 3/3, rare. Okay, that makes sense. You know, he's passing the Titan test. For those of you who don't know what the Titan test is that basically similar to the M12 Titan cycle that was recently cycled out. You have power and toughness equal to your converted mana cost or greater, plus some additional effects. So he's getting Battalion, that whenever he swings, he's making all your creatures indestructible. Wow, awesome, fantastic. Imagine him paired with the 1/1 haster. Great. Swing, first strike, trample, indestructible. Nothing they can do. I mean, tragic slip, but we'll see. But then what makes this card even better is that you can sacrifice him to counter target spell with X and its converted mana cost, unless it's controller pays 3. That bonfire is now hitting you for 3 less. That syncopate can now only be tapped, now needs to be tapped for 3 additional mana. It is great against control, and it is great against bonfire. It will, I don't know how much main decking it's going to see, but definitely sideboarding. I think I will take it. Okay, another card that I feel obligated to talk about is, of course, Gideon. So he's your planeswalker that he's getting loyalty counters for how many creatures your opponent have, and then he's turned it into a soldier to beat on someone's face. But, you know, you can't, of course, forget about a planeswalker's ultimate ability. In this case is exile all other permanents. This means that you are exiling all their lands, yes, even their lands, and you are just using that 0 ability to just beat on their face. I think if you can ultimate him, he's fantastic, but what planeswalker isn't? Okay, so, well, I take that back. I mean, Tybalt is pretty bad, but, so anyway, back to the real card at hand. Gideon, I think he's going to see a lot of hype at release, but I don't think he's going to see a lot of standard play. There's just not enough tokens or anything of the like to really go and make it matter, unless it's some super fog deck. But again, life gain, we said, was king, and we'll see where he goes from there. I think that if you're facing down enough creatures to ramp him up enough, fast enough, I think that he's going to be knocked down just as equally much, if not your life total being knocked down by greater. So, he's kind of meh to me, but let's see. We'll move on to the next plane. Alright, so the next planeswalker we have is, of course, Domri Rad. Some may pronounce him Domri Raid. I prefer Domri Rad. It sounds more legit, like he's pretty rad. Okay, right, so you get your +1, look at the top card, look at the top card of your deck, don't reveal it, look at it. If it's a creature, then you reveal it, and then you put it in your hand. Boom, card advantage. Excellent. Next one, -2. Target creature you control fights target creature you don't control. Removal. Excellent. In a red-green deck, which, by the way, he is red-green, he is a 3-drop for 3 loyalty counters. Awesome. So, -2, red-green, what kind of removal do you have? Okay, maybe you got some burn. But what else is fantastic is fighting. -2, you're fighting their creatures, and you're winning. Excellent. Good trades. Moving on, -7, I believe, is you get an emblem that basically says if you still have creatures during your next turn, you win the game. Not really, but it comes pretty close. I mean, come on, hexproof. Fantastic. What? Grand Prix, I think. Oh, yeah, Atlantic City. Top 2 were both Bant Aura decks running hexproof creatures with a F-ton of enchantments. Okay, so hexproof is pretty good. Trample. You probably already got some of that, but hey, more doesn't help. More doesn't hurt. Of course it helps. It doesn't hurt. Okay, so then you get double strike. Oh yeah, okay, in addition to your trample. Awesome. And lastly, haste. You just drop stuff and you go. I think, as personally being a huge fan of green, I think that this is a great card. What green is really lacking right now is a way to seriously generate card advantage, unless you're -3 in Garruk on maybe a Thragtusk. I mean, really, I love this card. I'm going to be trying to play a red-green deck. He's going to be in there. He generates card advantage, and he is removal. Almost like a Liliana. But, in my opinion, better. So let's move on. Okay, guys, I'm back. So let's see. The next card we have is Gore-Clan Rampager. He is your 2-drop 4/4 with Trampler, he is a 4-drop 4/4 Trampler for the Gruul that has Blood Rush, which, if you don't know, of course the exact rulings haven't been released yet to my knowledge, but Blood Rush is basically an instant speed pump spell that is different for each creature. So for this guy, it gives them +4/+4 and trample. So basically, you're swinging in with some weenie, they go into a profitable block, or so they think, and then you play your trap card, and then make their creature sad enough to go to the graveyard, and you are getting into their life total. I like it. Moving on. Okay, so another card that I want to look at is Master Biomancer, the 4-drop Simic Mythic. He is a 2/4 and he is a wizard. Kind of sounds like Wizard's Tribal for your EDH deck. Sounds like fun. But anyway, each creature you control would enter the battlefield with a number of additional +1/+1 counters on it, equal to the number, to Master Biomancer's power, and as a mutant in addition to its other types. And I'm just stumbling on words because it is so late at night. Anyway, okay, so unaffected at all, your creatures are entering with 2 +1/+1 counters. That is fantastic. And also, that's going to make your mediocre creatures go and pump up your other mediocre creatures with Evolve. I think he's awesome. I don't know if he's standard play, but he is certainly limited. And if you get him in your sealed pool, I will envy you. And I hope you win. He isn't an auto win, but making all your creatures bigger is certainly a nice thing. Okay, so another card I want to look at, I keep on saying that, my apologies guys, is Mystic Genesis. Okay, so we all remember Fall of the Gavel from Return to Ravnica, or maybe we don't because it was honestly a terrible card. Your 5-drop counter spell that goes and gives you back 5 life. Well, instead we have a 5-drop counter spell that gives you an XX green ooze, where X of that spell's converted mana cost. Okay, I actually kind of like this one. If I get it in limited, I will play it versus the awful Fall of the... what? Yeah, no one likes that. So, yeah, with Mystic Genesis, you are countering, hopefully, a big spell. I think 4 or greater makes it truly worth it. 3 is mediocre, and anything less, I highly do not recommend it unless you have to have a counterspell, and that drop is gonna lose you the game. So you're countering a spell, and then you're generating card advantage with that new token that you're putting onto the field. If you're playing some convoluted deck in Standard, you might even be able to populate that ooze. Who knows? Okay, guys, I'll be honest. I'm a Simic guy. I love green blue. Green blue is fantastic in every single way. Well, obviously not, but I like to think so. And where they released the Simic Charm, I was sad. Okay, so it's 2 mana, green and blue. Instant, choose one. You get a Giant Growth, you get a Mizium Skin, or you go and you get an Unsummon. Meh. That's literally all I can say, is just meh. Okay, so your Giant Growth, 1 mana. This thing is 2 mana. Giant Growth is more efficient. Mizium Skin, a blue and a colorless. This is a blue and a green. Mizium Skin is more color efficient, whereas this is more color intensive. And let's be honest, Mizium Skin wasn't all that great anyway. And then you go and you get an Unsummon that for 2 mana versus the 1 mana Unsummon. Okay, sure, you know, they're packing more versatility into the card, but they are definitely, this is definitely no Boros Charm, which we will get to, I promise. Another fun card, Soul Ransom. I like it. I wish I was more of a blue-black kind of guy, but hey, we'll see where the next standard takes me. Okay, so it's a 4-drop mind control that generates huge card advantage. They play their fatty, you say thank you, I will take that, and then they say either, well, I have to discard these 2 cards to get them back or else I lose, and then you get 2 cards. Okay, a 4-card advantage swing in your favor. Awesome. And then, or you go and you steal it, and hopefully it's their fatty that they don't have enough card draw, and you're just like, okay, cool, you don't have any cards in hand, swing for game. I think it's a great card. I think it's going to be fun, and I think it is going to make your opponents cry. Alright, so I'm going to kind of try to start flying through these. My apologies, guys, it's getting late at night. So, we have Zamek Guildmage. He is the Simic Guildmage. Again, I am a Simic fanboy, so I just want to show you guys just how abusive this card is. So, okay, he's your typical 2-drop 2/2, just like any other Guildmage. I mean, makes sense, right? So, at first glance, he's kind of mediocre. You know, he's okay. I mean, green-blue, and your creatures enter the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter. Yeah, that's pretty good. And it's an additional counter. This wording means even counter creatures that don't enter with counters intrinsically do enter with counters. Awesome. Okay, so then his next ability is where he starts getting crazy. Green-blue, remove a +1/+1 counter from a creature you control. Draw a card. Excellent. Card advantage, but you're removing +1/+1 counter. Sad face. Okay, sure. You know, you can go and combo him and go and play your big creature with all these +1/+1 counters on it the first turn, and then after you deal combat damage, remove all the counters and draw cards. Yeah, I mean that's an alright to spend it, an alright way to spend it. But of course, we are talking Simic. We are talking card advantage. So what we want to do is find a way to totally abuse him, and how do we do that? Is with, yes, Undying. So Geralf's Messenger, he enters battlefield, target opponent loses 2 life, and then he comes back with Undying. But wait, we just remove the +1/+1 counter, and all that Undying says is that as long as this creature didn't have a +1/+1 counter at time of death, it returns to the battlefield. So as long as we keep on removing it, unless they have a pillar or unless they have 2 removal spells, and whenever we're tapped out, we are getting card advantage and they are losing life and crying. Also, this works with any big, huge, fatty, such as Vorapede with Undying. I think he is awesome. I will be playing a black, blue, green deck in Standard. I think he is a fantastic card. I think he is almost up there with the best guild mages. Okay, so just so that this doesn't catch you guys off guard, I just want to make you guys aware of one of the combos that are going to be coming out in the current Standard, which makes me cry oh so much. Okay, so Vizkopa Guildmage is the Orzhov Guildmage, white-black, and of course their guild mechanic is Extort. That's it, and so likewise, the Guildmage has to be tribal with their mechanic. So he goes and he gets 3 target creature gains lifelink. Meh. Okay, I can live with it. Or the 3 mana, whenever you gain life this turn, each opponent loses that much life. On the surface, again, just like the Zamek Guildmage, pretty meh. But then you go and you start getting into Exquisite Blood. Yes, Exquisite Blood, 5 mana black enchantment that whenever an opponent loses life, you gain that much life. Sweet. Okay, so then you go and you activate Guildmage's second ability. Whenever you gain life this turn, each opponent loses that much life. First of all, that's ridiculous with Extort. Okay, you're getting double the value. But first of all, back to the original combo with Exquisite Blood. Okay, so you maybe swing 1 at them, and then you activate the Guildmage. So you swing 1, and you have Exquisite Blood out. Swing 1, Exquisite Blood triggers because they lost a life. So you gain a life. and then Viscopa Guildmage says, oh, you gained a life. So they lose a life, and then Exquisite Blood says, oh, they lost a life. You gain a life. You see where this is going? I think it's a pretty cheap combo. I don't know how Wizards let that happen. I hope decks like that don't come out. And please, if you're watching this, don't play that deck. At least not against me. Okay, so another card that I'm kind of excited to look at is Immortal Servitude. It's a 3-mana X. Return each creature card with converted mana cost X from your graveyard to the battlefield. So many people are trying to make this work right now. They're just shoving all the 1s, 2s, and 3 drops into their decks, trying to make this work, trying to figure out what kind of creatures they can put in there to just not care about what their opponents are doing or if they kill them. You know, just go and try to blaze them down as fast as possible and then just crack back right again and go and get the second life. It's ironic that it's called Immortal Servitude, but I guess it makes sense. I mean, your 2 drops and 3 drops need to do work. I always find that 3 drop is the most interesting slot, that I always have so many cards I want to put there. Well, you know what, for 6 mana I can get all of those dead creatures back. I'm not a huge fan of white-black, but hey, if it works, it works. Alright guys, we are getting towards the end here, but I just want to go and cover this one of the few last cards that we have here, Razor Tip Whip, the 2-drop artifact. It is a common, which means you will probably see at least 2 in your packs. At least I want to see 2 in my packs. Okay, it's 1 mana tap, deal 1 damage to target opponent. It is a Lobber Crew on a stick that is more immune to, it's more evasive to removal than Lobber Crew. It's a fantastic card for limited, not so great for constructed, but nevertheless, you never know what people will come up with. Alright guys, the last card I want to talk about is the Promised Boros Charm. I am personally very, very upset that this card was printed. I mean, okay, it's a charm, it's an uncommon, you're going to be seeing a lot of it. This card alone makes so many people just automatically pick Boros. So it's a red-white, choose one of these, deal 4 damage to target player. Okay, that's a 1/5 of their life, whatever. Permanents you control are indestructible this turn. Okay, the ultimate combat trick. Our target creature gains double strike until the end of the turn. Okay, you know, your lifelinker, your guy that has on-hit effects. This is just an overall ridiculous card. It is so overpowered, and I don't know how many I'm going to see in Standard after it hits. I mean, just everyone is going to be playing the Boros Charm, and I don't know where the counter for it is going to be. Maybe it'll be in Dragon's Bridge, maybe it'll be in M14. But overall, I think it's a great card. As much as I don't like it, it is a great card. It will see play in Standard, and just I hope it doesn't make too many people cry. So with that, guys, I will now conclude my first ever Magic show, my first ever Magic preview. Stay tuned over the weekend. I will be doing a deck tech for the 2 times that I plan on playing in the pre-releases. Once for Gruul, once for Simic, because Boros is way too mainstream. Yeah, I said it. Boros is too mainstream. But honestly, I enjoy playing them. So I will be doing deck techs. I need to get to bed. I am so incredibly tired. Stay tuned for those. I hope this was enjoyable. This is my first time ever doing something like this. I'm not used to just kind of monologuing to myself, so hopefully this was just as enjoyable for you guys as it was for myself. Please feel free to post any suggestions, comments, what you liked, what you didn't like, down below in the comments. Really, it does help. Constructive criticism is always the best. So with that, I bid you guys good night, and yeah, keep it classy. Enjoy your pre-releases, win some prizes.
Crazy pills!